So this morning we're going to talk about barefoot versus traditional shoe. You know, you got your Vibram 5 fingers and you got a racing flat, a traditional sort of running shoe. I see a lot of people, you know, and I run and train with some of the best runners in Australia, and I've never seen anyone using a Vibram who's running that fast in racing or training. I think the gift that these shoes have brought to the market is just getting more people more conscious about, you know, foot strike and, you know, training smarter versus just training harder. But what I see a lot of people doing is they're new runners, they don't have a history of running, and they get into these little barefoot shoes and they go and start cranking out the mileage and they get some full-on injuries, some shin splints or some fractured toes or, you know, knee problems, back problems, because they're trying to run barefoot in a barefoot shoe, you know, on concrete and tarmac, and they're wondering why all of a sudden they're getting injuries. And then they're going, oh, I tried that running thing, it doesn't work. It's a bit like the person who goes on a raw food lifestyle, undereats the fruit hardcore, and just gets dropped off the deep end and goes, oh, I tried that raw food thing, it doesn't work, you know. It's the same with barefoot running. People get into running going barefoot and get some horrific injuries and go, oh, I tried that running thing, it doesn't work. All you did is you did it wrong, you didn't make it work for you. So am I a fan of the Vibrams? Definitely. This is my pair, I use these, but you'll never ever see me running fast in these unless you're going uphill. You can't run fast in these shoes. You can jog in them, but if you want to get your fastest, you got to drop the Vibrams and you got to pick up some decent running shoes. And these were made by Brooks, and the model is the Green Silence. It's made out of post-recycled consumer product, and the midsole is biodegradable. Also made in China with the Vibrams and with Nike and all the other shoes, as they are these days. So the Brooks Green Silence, if you want to run fast, get a pair of these. These are a very quick shoe. I've ran a 36:07 10K in them. I know Jeff Eggleston's ran a 2:14 marathon in them. So, you know, you're not going to see anyone running fast in Vibrams. It's just, you can't, because you're getting so much impact on your legs. You'd literally have to be an Olympic marathoner to run fast barefoot, just like a Bebe Bilica did back in the 1960 Olympics when he won the gold medal barefoot. People go, well, what about him, Harley? Well, the next year, he brought his shoes along. And why did a Bebe run barefoot? Because he forgot his shoes. His sponsor forgot the shoes to bring there. So, you know, he just said, I'm just going to run anyway to show people how strong I am. So next year, he brought his shoes along. But Vibram has sort of capitalised and haven't really shared the full story. So given the chance, Bicola wore shoes. But, you know, you're talking about an elite, you know, world-class marathoner who at the time was the best in the world. And yeah, they're going to run, you know, and they're going to be able to run a marathon barefoot, but they're going to risk injury and they're going to risk running a bit of a slower time. So today you'll never see any Olympic marathoner running barefoot on tarmac or concrete. You know, on the beach, on the grass, that's okay. But if you're a new runner, you want to be running in proper shoes. Basically just copy the techniques and training strategies and foot strike of the world's best runners. Look at the Kenyans on YouTube. Look at the Ethiopians. You know what I mean? They're running barefoot on dirt, yeah, but they're not running barefoot on tarmac and concrete. You know, so what people are doing is when they start running, they're up their training, you know, just get straight into it. Well, I read on our forum, people are running more than I am. And I'm running 1:21 for half marathon, 36:07 for 10K. I've ran about 280 kilometers this year, and today's like 10th of May. So that's like 5 months of running. I've done 280 Ks. I see some people in our forum who are just cranking that in a month. In 1 month, they're doing 5 times as much training as I am. And then you ask them how they're going 2 months later and they're out, they're injured. So you're going to build up very slowly. Start with 1 jog a week. Start with walking, you know, and then maybe throw in a few 200, 300 meter jogs. Don't go running off the bat. You'll just really injure yourself. The only people who can come in strong is people who've got a big history of running. You know what I mean? If you've got a big history, then yeah, you can, you know, jump in. But you still got to jump in with discernment and with, you know, training smarter versus training harder. It's not Rocky. You know, Rocky was a movie. We're talking about, you know, common sense these days. So I'm a big fan. The Brooks Green Silence. You know, I've had a few pairs of these now, and a great shoe. I highly recommend them. So get a pair of these for your racing shoe. But for training, you want something a little bit more heavy duty than this. This is still too lightweight. This is still too barefoot for high mileage training. You want to have something with a bit more cushioning, maybe like a Brooks Glycerin. You know, just check out the Brooks range. It's a good shoe, and I like how the company is getting more green. You know, even Nike now. Nike's recycling more shoes than anybody on the planet of their Nike Reuse a Shoe program. So it's cool that his company is getting more green and a bit more conscious. So great, bit of a change in the older sweatshop days. So yeah, you got to give people a pat in the back for making positive differences and getting their act together. So people say, hey, but Harley, in that book Born to Run by Chris McDougall, that everyone ran barefoot. No way. You got Scott Jurek, the longtime vegan, the world's best male ultra marathoner in the history of the sport. Scott Jurek, longtime vegan. He's running in these, the Green Silence. He's running in his Brooks shoes. He doesn't run barefoot. I mean, he might on the beach and stuff like that, but not in races or training, because you can't perform at your best running barefoot. And also we have the Tarahumara Indians, who are like the mainstay of that book, and they're running in little sandals they make out of car tires, which is, you know, almost an inch thick. So nobody in that book's running barefoot, you know what I mean? So then you see people read the book and don't pay attention to the details, and you see them running down the street in Vibrams, barefoot, go, yeah, man, born to run. And it's like, you're born to run, but you're not born to run on concrete and tarmac, you know what I mean? So, you know, we got to understand that these Tarahumara Indians, even they're running in, you know, old car tires, which they make their shoes out of, they've still got a big history of running. As their kids, they start running and playing their game. It's a great book. I encourage people to read that book. I've got an audio book. It's a good book. So I'm not dissing. I'm just saying, pay attention to the details. Nobody in the book is running barefoot. Scott Jurek isn't, and the Tarahumara Indians are not. They're all running in shoes. So let's just be clear on that one. So Vibrams or traditional running shoes, what's better? I think Vibrams are good for doing, you know, maybe doing weights and walking around the house in and just getting your feet strength up. But please do not use these for running on tarmac or concrete unless you want to increase your chance of injury and run a lot slower. I mean, if you can run you know, if I ran in these for a half marathon, I'd have to add at least half an hour to my time, 20 minutes to half an hour, you know what I mean? So you just have to slow right down, because the impact, it's just when you're boxing and you're punching a heavyweight bag and it's really hard, you have to slow down because it just trashes your body. Nobody can punch no one can punch a pine tree like they can punch a soft boxing bag. So bottom line, train smarter versus training harder. Get a qualified running coach and understand that you've got to build it up slowly. 10% per week is what you want to aim for. So if you run 10 kilometers this week, 11 kilometers next week, and build it up. And over the year, you're ramping it up, but you're doing it slowly so your body can adapt. And high impact sports like running, you know, train smart always. If in doubt, train smart. If in doubt, jump on your bike or go for an easy workout. Never push through pain. So where to get information from running? Get a qualified running coach, someone who understands running. There's a good one in Australia, Pat Carroll online. Highly recommend Pat. You know, you got a few local coaches as well who are really good. Look on YouTube at Ryan Hall's running tips. There's some great stuff about technique and foot strike. Take advice from people getting the results you desire. That's what I'm doing now with running. I'm just like looking for the best people, who the most knowledgeable, and just picking their brain, asking them, training with them, hanging out with them, watching them run, watching how they train. And my running is just ramped right up. I like learning the easy way versus the hard way. You know, I don't want to learn from making mistakes. I want to learn from other people's mistakes. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, if you want to get to town, follow people going to town versus trying to, you know, go, oh, I want to do it my way, and just getting lost and taking longer than it has to. Just boom, take advice from people getting the results you desire. Go and find the best runners in your area and ask them for advice, train with them. And if you're a newbie, then obviously that's going to be a bit much of a jump, but build up slowly. Read running magazines, read forums, but get your qualified running coach who's understanding what it takes for a newbie runner to get them back up there. And running is a great sport. And also get a bicycle, train with your bicycle as well, so that on the days where you're not running, you can still work on your cardio, build your cardio up, so you're not missing out there. So yeah, train smarter versus training harder. And lastly, another thing I found really so good for me is one of these things. It's called a Garmin. The model is a 310 XT, and you can get them online really cheap. It's great, it's waterproof, it's got a big face so you can really easily read your pace when you're running. And it comes with a really good heart rate strap. It's really soft and just conforms really well. So it's just like a real easy to use heart rate strap. I charge you can charge this on your laptop or in the wall, or you can use this solely when it's sunny, put this out on the roof and it charges up in a day, and then you can charge up your watch. So the Garmin 310 XT, I'm a big fan. Why? Because as someone who's got a cycling background, I've done running races, or go out training, and you're going out too fast. Someone faster will go past you, and you think it's like a bike race where you have to get the draft. Running's not like that at all. There's hardly any draft. So if you go out too fast, you blow your legs up, you'll get your heart rate above your lactate threshold in the long run. That's not going to be good for you. So by using a Garmin, you can pace yourself. You can learn what, say, if you're going minute per mile or minute per kilometre pace. So in Australia, we use minute per kilometre. So it's great. So you can have a set goal, a time that you know you can run a distance in, and then you can break it down as minutes per kilometre. Let's say you're doing a 35-minute 10K, you wouldn't be running at 3:30 pace every kilometre, and then you'll know you're on target. But if you go out at 3:10 pace, you're going out too fast, or if you go out at 4:20 pace, you're going out too slow. So these numbers might sound a bit confusing, but again, they're grade 2 mathematics. Grade 2 mathematics. So if you don't understand them, go back to grade 2 and get your grade 2 school teacher to teach these maths, because it's grade 2 maths. So simple strategies to make your running more effective. Because I know so many people who are fitter than me in running, but mentally they don't have the strategy, so they go way too fast and I'll pass them later on in the run. But they're fitter than me. They do much more training than I do, but I've got a better strategy. So it's about, I don't know, for me it's about training minimal, getting the maximum results, and that way you decrease your chance of injuries or burnout or whatever. Just smart training. That's what I'm into. Smart strategy. And the Garmin definitely, this is like revolutionised my whole running training. So it's great. You get to upload it on the maps and see where you've gone and your terrain and all these little funny things. So, it's a great watch. It's got a lot of features, but you only really need the basic ones like your heart rate and your distance and your pace per kilometre. So it's highly recommend them. Not cheap, but the benefits you'll get will far outweigh any initial outlays. So get one, definitely.